You are watching or listening to Purham and Associates. For more information, go to www.rpurham.com. Hey, good day to you all. Welcome to Purham and Associates. I'm your host, Randy Purham. Hey, I hope you all had a awesome week. And as we are closed out this week, this is Friday, and this is the time that we take to thank our men and women who are serving our nation around the world, sacrificing and committing their time and their freedom in protecting our freedom, our constitution, our way of life. We thank you and we salute you and we wish you a safe journey back home to your friends, families, and loved ones, wherever that may be. And yeah, enjoy. I know you're having a great time out there. Hey, with that being said, we got a very special guest with us today, and I'm excited to talk to him as well because we got another freedom fighter, quite literally, a J6er with us today, and we got none other than Shane Jenkins. And Shane here, he was a defendant in the J6 events, having been incarcerated for a total of 46 months, 24 of which were pretrial, and 32 in what is referred to as the DC Gulag. His case went to trial where he was found guilty on all counts by a jury that many will argue did not represent his peers. The day of January 6th, on that day, Shane was directly beside Victoria White when she was assaulted by police. He himself was also assaulted, but managed to assist MDP officer Blake Miller back to safety amidst the chaos. From adversity to advocacy, instead of succumbing to the adversities he faced, Shane turned his experience into a platform for change. While incarcerated, he founded two significant organizations: the Real J6, an initiative aimed at sharing personal stories and factual narratives from those who were present on January 6th, providing a counter narrative to mainstream reporting, and then Standing in the Gap. This organization focuses on advocating for judicial reform, highlighting injustices within the current system, and pushing for changes to ensure fair treatment for all. The current mission, Shane is now dedicating his efforts towards reforming and restoring integrity to America's justice system. His firsthand experience gives him a unique perspective and an unyielding commitment to this cause. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing some and presenting to others, Mr. Shane Jenkins. Good morning, sir. Welcome.
Good
Welcome
morning.
home. And welcome home at that.
Yeah,
So,
happy.
yes, yes. So, Shane, I want to ask you. Let's start by what brought you to the Capitol on January 6th. I know. I had last week. I had another J6er on, and Lucas Denny. I had him on, and we kind of bantered around about you woke up, you was like, yeah, I'm gonna go to fly out to DC today and listen to the president talk and everything. But it just went, just hit the fan today, So, but to tell us like what brought you to DC that day?
I think I'm. Yeah, I'm gonna give you a broader answer on that. Like, I gave my life to Jesus Christ in 2016, and so
Okay.
my politics sprang from my foundation in Christ. When I started to realize that God knew every person in the womb, He knew every hair on our
Yeah.
head, He knew us before He laid the foundations of the earth. I started to. That's what my politics sprang from, was my foundation in Christ, and so got out of prison in 2018, became a part of a prison ministry in Houston called Charm Prison Ministry. I got hired on staff after being there about 6 months. We help men adjust into society and
Mm.
live in 8 discipleship homes here in West Houston. And so I'm really passionate about going back into prison, sharing the gospel. I got to do all that, but fast forward a little bit, I got off parole in 2019 and voted to or signed up to vote in 2020 for the first time ever that I had not been on probation or parole or even was interested in politics. And so I
Mm.
voted early in Texas in 2020 and watched the election night and just was watching Trump lead the whole way, Biden trailing. And then I go to bed about 10:30 or 11 and I wake up the next morning and I'm like, how in the hell did we lose? I mean, and some say stolen is too concrete of a word. I'll say manipulated, messed with, cheated. I don't know, but I had a lot of questions about the election. And then Donald Trump sent out that tweet, and it said, "Come to D.C., join the Stop the Steal rally," and then in all capital letters it said, "Will be wild." And I don't know if you're looking at a guy who's like covered in tattoos, and I was like, I like wild, and so I
Yeah.
had never been to D.C. to see the history of the city. I had never seen Trump give a speech live and in person, and I felt like if something didn't change, then he was going to be out of office in 2 weeks on January 20th. So I wanted to go and just at least participate in that. But the bigger portion of it was I wanted to go protest an election that I had a lot of questions about, and I wanted to have my voice heard. What I really wanted him to do was I wanted Mike Pence to send it the states that we had questions in, that these questionable videos where it
Mm-hmm.
showed ballots coming out from underneath the table, or whether it was 100,000 straight ballots for Biden only, and in these
Mm-hmm.
states that had very small margins of 8 to 12,000 vote margins in these swing states. I wanted them to take 10 days. Let's say January 6th, they send it back to the states. They come back by the 16th and, share the results of their investigation of these states. And that was my hopeful expectation of what I envisioned happening. And nothing like what happened was anything that I imagined was going to happen. Yeah, so that's how I ended up in DC.
Yeah, and a lot of people came down there, with similar expectations, and I talked to over the years since 2020. I talked to a lot of people that were there, both actual J6ers and just everyday Americans that was just there and then came back home and nothing of the out of the ordinary happened to them. And that was their expectations. Like, we just wanted, a free and fair election, and for an investigation to happen into, what, because I was doing live coverage that night because, being a podcaster and everything else. And
Okay.
me and some other co-hosts at that night, we was actually up until 1 a.m. and we saw numbers flip real time. And they calling Arizona before, Arizona was like the first state to call. And we were like, why is Arizona being called? It was like at 10 o'clock. It was like, how is Arizona being called right now? It's like, wait a minute, this is not right. And that whole shabaku went down. Later on in the media, like that was an error. So you're right. It was like, and then the quote unquote water pipes bursting at the arena. It was just all kinds of just nonsense that was going on. And so yeah, it was warranted for people to show up in Washington D.C. demanding answers. So and I get it. I wanted to go. I was like, let me get me a ticket and show up. So if had I been there, I think things would have went down just slightly different. Just slightly different. The shaman, he would have had nothing on me if I would have showed up. But hey, hey, whatever. Okay, he did his thing. but but nonetheless, things went down the way they went down. And I want to ask you, while you were on ground there, where were you at the moment that President Trump is speaking at the ellipse and everything, right? Where were you at in that during that duration?
I was right there. So I was outside the ellipse. I was actually across the street, in the field where the monument is, and there was a big screen TV that they had right there, and out there about probably 30 yards behind that big screen. Um, he stayed there could until he completed speaking, like until he was done.
Hmm.
And I was in such a hurry to go overthrow the government that after that, my friends that I was with that I met in at a layover in Dallas, they wanted to go to their hotel room and freshen up. So I went to Starbucks across the street and got protein packs and coffee for everybody because we were going to go overthrow the government. So we had to stop and get Starbucks on the way.
Gotcha.
But they came to their hotel room and they told me their phones and they said, "Oh my gosh, they've stormed the Capitol."
Yeah.
And that was when I had to go inspect and see what was going on.
Yeah, and so of course you know that the Capitol was already being breached, and things were going down by the time y'all left the ellipse, and so
Hmm.
what? Walk me through, or walk us through what was going down by the time y'all got over there. Like, did you see like chaos already ensuing, or was it still relatively like it was just a few little melees going on, or what was going down at that point?
Right. No. So a lot of people don't recall this. There was supposed to be a second set of speakers at the Capitol building, and it was headlined by Pompeo, who now I'm not really a fan of. I wanted to go. I liked it at that point. I wanted to go see him speak. There was other multiple speakers behind him, and so that's what we were actually going to the Capitol to see that one. I left my group and I ran from the hotel to the Capitol because I was like, whatever's going on is historic, and I'll get down there. And I went around the Capitol. And by the time I got there, they had temporary grandstands, and it looked like somebody had kicked the ant bed there, and there was just people climbing like all over it. And there was a great big American flag draped over it. And you hear people singing the anthem, you hear people chanting USA, USA, and then I'm like, they're already up on the lower West Terrace and everything, and so I was like, I'm gonna go up there and see what's going on. My butt, not the smartest out there. I'm like, I want to go see what's going on up there. So I climb up there, and whenever I grab that rail, climb over on the lower West Terrace, I hear this whisper in my head, and it's like, Shane, this is dangerous. And I stopped for a second. I'll never forget. I stopped, and I'm like, well, why am I here? And I think. I thought about my children, and I think about the future generations of my family, and I was like, this. If I'm a citizen, I have an obligation to at least stand up for election integrity and fairness in our elections. Otherwise, this whole experiment of the United States or the Republic is for nothing. And so I was like, I'm going up here to see what it is, whether it's dangerous or not. I'm going. And when I got up there to the lower West Terrace, I was to the left of the tunnel that the president walks out every 4 years, usually except for twice, to put his handle and swear in front of the people.
Hmm.
And when I got up there, the tunnel was full of police officers, and the people were right up against them, and it was like a little. They were doing this heave ho thing back and forth, heave ho, and the police would push them back, and then they would push against them, and
Yeah.
then people started. I didn't see initially. I did not see anybody take action against the police officers, but what I did see was people coming out of that tunnel bloodied. Like I remember, this is what kind of upset me was there was a man with a trucker hat like this, and he came out of the tunnel and he had blood pouring down his face and he looked like my grandpa. I remember I stopped, I took a picture of him, and then I zoomed in and took another picture,
Mm.
and it just really, really bothered me. I didn't see him do anything that warranted that. And so um, later on, I make my way into the tunnel, and before I could even get up to the police line, I get pepper sprayed in the face 4 times. I turn around and put my hoodie up over my head and start wiggling through the crowd backwards. And when I do get up to the police line where Victoria White was on my right, I don't remember seeing her at that point. I get struck from behind with the baton. I saw the whenever we were in the DC Gulag, we were able to look at all the footage and stuff like that. So I found the footage where the officer Bagshot pulls out his baton and starts hitting her in the face, tries to jab the baton in her eyeball, and then he hits me in the top of the head from behind, and you can hear me yell "Stop!" and put my hands on my head, and I've got the picture where it's like I've got a divot in my head. It's like a big, it's bad. Um, and so yeah, I make my way out of the tunnel at that point. Somebody pops some tear gas or something in the tunnel. We couldn't breathe, and I climb out of there. I can't see. And I get out there, get all the stuff out of my eyes, and then a guy's on the balcony at the window, and he's saying they've just shot and killed somebody inside the Capitol. And so now I feel like they stole the election. Can you hear me? And then I've witnessed people being assaulted, and now I've been assaulted. And so uh, and they've killed somebody, and it just was like this is enough. And that's when I lost my cool. I did throw stuff at the police officers, fully armored up riot gear police officers. But shortly after that, I left. Nobody was hit by anything. Nobody got bodily injury from anything I did. But I left after that and went back to my hotel room. I lost you. I've lost my sound. Can you hear me? I can't hear you. I don't know. Can you hear me now? What's going on? My goodness. Can you hear me? I can't hear you. Yeah.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can hear you now. I'm sorry,
Okay.
man.
No, you good. You
I
good.
don't know what's going on.
I saw that you was adjusting your earbuds and everything. I said, okay, his battery must have went out.
Yeah, they're going. I don't know what it is. So sorry about
No,
that.
you're good. No, I was no, you it's all good. I was asking. I said, walk us through like the sequence of events from like so everything was all good from the time you left the Capitol grounds. You went back to your hotel. You was like, damn, that was crazy and all that. Walk us through for the time you you got arrested. What happened there? Like, how did that transpire? Like, what went down then?
Yeah, so like you say, I made it home. Funny story, like I'm at my hotel room, like I stayed an extra day in DC, and I remember thinking, well, that got a little out of hand. That was kind of crazy. And then I turned the news on the next day, and I was like, it'll blow over. And then it was like every channel. I was like, oh my gosh, this is bad. This is
It's
so bad right here.
bad. Yeah.
But I get back home, and I found out through a friend of mine that the FBI was looking for me. They were asking questions. They, were trying to identify me through some people that I know.
Mm.
And so I knew they were coming. I didn't know how they were coming, but March 5th, the night before, I didn't sleep very well for some reason. I was up till about 4:30 in the morning, and I finally went to sleep. And about 6:30, my roommate runs in the room, and he's like, Shane, get up, the FBI is here. And I was so groggy.
Oh
I was
man.
like, shut up, quit playing. And he was like, I'm serious. The Houston SWAT and the FBI is outside. And I was like, and then I hear him on the megaphone, Shane Jenkins, come outside with your hands where we can see him. And I was like, what is going on? And I just jump up and I put a shirt on, and I go outside, and and they've got the whole ballistic shield with the
Mm-hmm.
ARs pointed at me with laser beams all on my chest. And then I had a half Great Dane, half pit bull, and he's looked ferocious, but he's a baby, and he starts running out there, roll, and I was like, whoa, and I grab him because I was so afraid they were going to shoot him. I throw him back in the house and turn around and get down on the ground. You know, they take me into custody. What I didn't know at that point in time was that the FBI had labeled me a tier one anti-government extremist,
Oh,
which was
wow.
like the likes of Timothy McVeigh, Ted Kaczynski,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then the person that they sent to go through my house was the head of the Joint Terrorism Task Force, which these people should be mobilized against people who are legitimate terrorists. But what they did was they weaponized, they engaged the machine in saying that these people are the worst of the worst, which unarmed at the Capitol threw some sticks at police officers, whatever. Um, Protested a stolen election was probably the bigger crime. But yeah, so they came at me full bore, and luckily they took me into custody, no problems, didn't shoot me or anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they took me, yeah.
Wow. And so when they took you in and everything, they were they were just like, you're an extremist and all of this, and ran you through the mill of the judicial process and everything else. And you, what happened in terms of being processed in the facilities that led you to being sentenced to 46 months? What were the charges that they gave you? Because I know a lot of people said they were never charged with anything. They were just thrown behind the bars and that was it. And they just walked away. It was like literally, locked up and threw away the key type of thing, and never
Mm.
seen trial or anything. So what were they charging you with?
They charged me with the biggest charge was the obstruction of Congress, the 1512, which the Supreme Court would later come and throw out, which
Yeah,
the
gotcha.
DOJ failed to remove from our record. That one carried 20 years. And then the three assaults,
Mm,
they had charged me with three assaults on federal officers. They said I destroyed government property. I trespassed while being armed because I had survival hatchet tomahawks in my backpack. Um,
wow.
I did strike a window and all of that craziness with my
Okay.
tomahawk. I never used my tomahawks against anybody, but I figured if we break a window and go through the window as opposed to trying to go through this line of police officers, like we can replace a window. We can't replace a police officer, and we can't
Right.
replace one of these
Yep.
protesters' lives. And it's not worth them getting assault charges, and it's not worth them being assaulted. And so
Yep. Sure. Sure.
they charged me with 12 count indictment. They offered me a plea offer of 92 to 115 months, which is I don't know how many that is. It's like 8.5 to almost
Years. Yeah.
10 years, something like that. And I told them I'd love to consider your plea offer, but I don't negotiate with terrorists because that's how they were acting, And it wasn't just me because I'm somebody who has a checkered past,
Yeah.
right? I've been in trouble before, and I know what it is. But what really bothered me was when I got to the DC jail and I saw these men who were Green Berets, who were 82nd Airborne, who were Marines, Navy, Air Force, that served this country honorably, that lost friends, like suffered PTSD, that like offered life and limb on the battlefield in foreign lands
Mm-hmm.
and domestic land.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
here you are coming after these good men that I know for a fact today that I spent years with in jail are good men, and you come after them like that. Like, so that just really, really bothered me when they weaponized. Like, if you say, okay, you broke a window, you assaulted a police officer, you're looking at a year in jail, or we're going to take you to, whatever, that's okay. But
Right.
when you try to say domestic terrorists,
Yeah,
extremists, like, and then you,
they was very over the top with it, and that's been my whole thing.
absolutely,
And I've been saying this from day one. I said I get it. A lot of people, a lot of the J6ers, some, and you probably fit in this category. I was like, some that was doing stuff that they didn't have a business doing, like breaking windows. I was like, yeah, they
yeah,
deserve some punishment. I get it, yes,
yeah,
but not to this extreme. Not
right.
years in prison. No, a couple of fines, okay, sure. Maybe a few months in jail, okay, got it. Depending on what it was. But to those two extremes that we're seeing, no, it's not that serious. No one out here in the regular world is getting those kind of punishments. So why go to these extremes? It's not that, no. And at the end of the day, I am a proponent of redressing the government, with our grievances, and we also know that the FBI, Antifa, and the lack of preparation on behalf of Congress, specifically Nancy Pelosi, and Mayor Bowser, in turning down the National Guard from President Trump. There are a lot of other external factors that played into how January 6th went down that day. So miss me with the party that went down on the Capitol grounds. Miss me with that. Miss me with it. So
Well, don't forget the three intelligence agency briefings that Congressman Troy Nels from Fort Bend County down here by Houston released, and it said they had three intelligence briefings saying that there was expected violence on January 6th, and then to say that Nancy Pelosi failed to prepare was more of an intentional failure to prepare, and out of 2,000 Capitol Police on staff, they had 200 there, so they were at 10%. When it was a heated election, you got like 1.5 million Trump supporters in D.C. You've been offered the National Guard, you refuse that. It's just like this wasn't an accident.
yeah, no, they did it intentionally. They knew that something, even if it wasn't going to be Trump supporters, it was going to be Antifa dressed as Trump supporters doing
Right.
stuff. That's why
In
the Capitol
feds.
was that's why they was already breaching the Capitol when the Trump supporters, the real
Right.
true Trump supporters, were still at the ellipse listening
Right.
to his speech. That's why all that
That's
was
right.
went down, and the buses that was coming in and everything else. They already had this stuff planned and staged. And so, speaking of all that, Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino, he was floating the ideas that I know, right? I was excited about that too. When I saw that, I was like, who would have thunk? But excuse me, he floated the idea that the pipe bombs that was around at the DNC and the RNC headquarters there in DC was an inside job by the by those guys. I'm I want to get your thoughts on that. And I've been saying it from day one. I'm like, so you mean to tell me that you were able to, the FBI and the intelligence agencies, and I'm snitching here, ladies and gentlemen. You mean to tell me y'all can pull cell phone data? Yeah, you can look at you can get the cell phone tower pings from and identify everybody that was there around these locations and go after these people. But you mean to tell me you can't identify who was at the DNC and RNC at the specific times where you found these pipe bombs? I call bullshit. I bullshit.
That's right.
So, Shane, I want to get your thoughts on Director Director Bongino's thoughts on that.
I absolutely concur with that. I believe they have the cell phone number, and I believe they got a license plate off of the car that individual was driving. But what I believe with that whole situation was, I think that was Plan B. Did it not transpire how it had at the Capitol? Were they not able to create this narrative or this event at January 6th? I think the bombs were going to be the next way to shut down the conversation at the Capitol, to say, oh, everybody's got to get out of here. We can't talk about sending the electors back because we found these bombs. It's credible threats. We've got to get you guys out of here. So we're just going to have to certify the election and get out of town. So I think that was the Plan B. But to say that these people don't know who it was is an absolute falsehood. And I look forward to these truth tellers, Cash Patel and Dan Bongino, bringing the heat and exposing the deep state.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And you're so right that I think that was Plan B. Maybe even might have been even Plan C, because I think Plan A was already the lack of preparation and the lack of just allowing the first wave to crash into the Capitol, to breach. Plan B was to incite and open up the gates and letting and ushering in people and giving them the tour, and then letting them just, oh, go ahead, yeah, just do it, oh, yeah.
This way,
You
this
can,
way,
yeah,
yeah.
this way. Matter of fact, you can have a seat at the desk. Yeah, put your feet up. Enjoy yourself. Make yourself at home. Snap, 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 snap.
Yeah.
All that. Yeah, that was Plan B. Plan C would have been, start, the whole bomb threat stuff. And so that's why I think went down. But let's talk about your two nonprofits, the Real J6 and Stand in the Gap. Tell us about them and how you got that launched off and what they do for the people.
Yeah, so originally we started an LLC called the realj6.com. We were doing newsletters, we were getting people's stories out. People wanted to share their testimonies, and so
Mm-hmm.
we were trying to get them out, help them raise money and go. Now we've got like this T-shirt here that I have on, or the hat that I have, which has the foundation logo on it. We have a bunch of different political T-shirts. We have greeting cards and stuff like that for all seasons and stuff like that. So if you want to support the business, go there. But the foundation was birthed in the DC jail. After enduring no visits for 2 years, no religious services for 2 years, and
Wow.
no haircuts for a year. After Troy Nels came, he got us visits, and so we were like, well, if you think about it, the breadwinner's been out of the house for 2 years, let's say, for the most part. I'm not saying every man is a breadwinner,
Right,
but
right.
these men are in here in the jail, and so for typically the wife and kids to be able, after years with one income, the mom to take the kids out of school, to fly them, like to Uber to the airport, to fly to DC for the tickets, and then for the where they're going to stay at a hotel or Airbnb in DC, and then to do all that coming back, like, was just, and take the kids out of school and miss days of work, and all this was not feasible for these families after we had been denied visits for 2 years. So at Stand in the Gap, we decided, look, we're going to start Operation Love Wins, which Operation Love Wins raise money to fund these families being reunited, and we absorb the cost of the Ubers, airfare, hotel, and some meals. And so
Mm-hmm.
we were able to reunite
Awesome.
75 families from within. God gave it to me, and I birthed it out. And Sarah
Yeah.
McAbee implemented it on the outside, and the rest is history. But that's how it started. Was helping January 6th families get reunited. We're kind of transitioning now, but we'll talk about that in a minute if you want to.
Yeah. No. Go ahead. Go ahead. Jump right into it.
Okay, yeah. So now me personally, I was gone 1,418 days, and I have 5 children, and so
You
those
have how many?
relationships
Wait. Wait. Wait.
have
Wait. 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 Wait.
5 children. Yeah, 5 children. My
Shame.
barber calls me Leroy Jenkins. So,
Shame. Okay. You got.
I think I figured out where they came from. So
God bless you, sir. 5 children.
yes,
We appreciate you. Keep it sustaining the earth.
there you go. We got to keep America going, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But yeah,
um,
go ahead, go ahead. I'm always,
yeah,
I'm
no.
always,
So
I'm always amazed when people have like more than 2 children. I'm just like, whoo.
we're gonna keep up, and
Yeah,
keep it going, man. So,
yeah,
but no, so
absolutely.
those relationships had suffered as a result of me, but also the other men of being
Yeah.
gone. And I'm not married or anything, but those relationships suffered as well. So what we're doing now with the thing at Stand in the Gap called Mission Memory Maker is we're raising money to fund a 3 to 5 vacation for men who did over 1,000 days in jail. We're specifically talking those guys first, but we want to fund that vacation for the mom, the husband, mom, dad, and the kids, so they don't have to
Yeah.
pay for anything, because guys have their freedom back, but they don't have a job, and they haven't been out here to have savings to go on a vacation. So we're trying to raise
Yeah.
money for that. We're also working on providing health care through a company that we're partnering with, and we're also working on credit repair, because, like I
Mm.
say, our freedom has been reduced, but our lives are not where they need to be. So we're going to try to help everybody get rated. That's the January 6th portion of the foundation moving forward, because January 6th will fade away.
Yeah.
And
Right.
we're going to be working on justice reform. We're already having some conversations with some people at the Trump administration working on justice reform, because the travesty that I witnessed, and many of the other Jan Sixers will testify to this, is the Bureau of Prisons, the Federal Bureau of Prisons, is a drug infested war zone. And I witnessed two people's dead bodies get hauled out. One was beaten to death by his cellie. The other one, his cellmate. The other one overdosed on a fentanyl and was carted out of there. And it was shocking to me. I like I say, I have a checkered past. Before I gave my life to Christ in 2016, I had been to prison 3 times as an adult in Texas. And I've been to some of the worst prisons in Texas: Cofield, Robertson, Michaels, and nothing that I saw in Texas prison compared to anything I witnessed in the federal prison system. So we've got a lot of work to do, and I'm looking forward to, like, life gives you lemons, you got to make lemonade. And so I'm
Yeah.
thankful. I'm
Yeah.
thankful for my brothers that I got to suffer alongside in there, and I'm thankful I would go through all that again. I got to share the gospel with some men, disciple some men. I have a whole new January 6th family, but I'm looking forward to making an impact in the world, and I think that's what a lot of the January 6th guys are doing,
Yeah.
and gals.
Yeah, 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 of course, yeah. We can't forget the ladies. But I want to ask you though, about the organizations that you have and the things that you're doing,
Mhm.
which is phenomenal. And I'm not, as I was listening to you talk about that, I wanted to ask you: is this something that is just solely? You kind of partially answered it, and I said, "Ooh, he almost had it." Is this something that's
Right.
partially for only the J6 folks that are trying to put their lives back together, or is this something that anybody that's down and out on their luck can tap into?
For now, exclusively, we're focusing on the January 6th community. But
Gotcha.
like, that's a good
Okay.
question. So I'm a part of a ministry in Houston, in West Houston, called Charm Prison Ministry,
Mm-hmm.
and we have 8 discipleship homes that houses anywhere from 75 to 100 men who have had an encounter with Jesus Christ that want to walk that out into society. We house them at our 8 transitional homes. So this is something that I want to translate over to that for men coming out of prison, or specifically with Charm, it's men coming out of prison. The credit repair, we all know healthcare and dental in prison is horrible. So this is something that I feel like we're going to implement at the ministry to help men get back on their feet. And I think that's something moving forward we're going to start doing. But I think it is a good idea that, it's not, you get your freedom back, they let you out, but life is not what it was. And I'm not saying that it's not, that I'm not accountable for that, like when I get in trouble and go to
Yeah.
prison.
Right.
But it does put us at a disadvantage. If you lost a tooth in prison and you get out and you're trying to go get a job and now you don't have a tooth, and it's like, oh man, this guy can't work the front
Yeah.
desk of our hotel or our restaurant or whatever. So um,
Right. I
we,
understand.
we as a Christian, I believe we're called to not forget the prisoner, and so
Yeah.
that's what we want to do.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. And I thought it was important to highlight, capture like the different organizations and who they're serving, because
Hmm.
we don't want to portray that this is something for everybody, and then you get overwhelmed and it's like whoa, 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 whoa,
All
no,
right.
no, this is no, it's not for everybody. Wait, type of thing. So we don't put that out there. And ladies and gentlemen, please don't get it twisted. He is willing to help those that absolutely need help, but at the same time,
Hmm.
these things are dedicated to the J6s who are trying to put their lives back together and get back on their feet and everything else, because they
Absolutely.
have been treated and done horribly by
Hmm.
the federal government. At the end of the day, it is what it
Hmm.
is. And so and for those that are looking to contribute and help with these kind of causes, you can look down at the banner below, www, for the listeners anyways, not the watchers. Or if you're watching, you can just see it because you got bad eyes like me. Www.standing STANDIN the gap THEGAP .foundation, and then
Hmm.
the other website is www.therealj6.com. So there's 2 different organizations you could contribute, donate, support, and share around with your friends, families, and loved ones. And you could also go to Shane's X account and all that good stuff, and support him, follow him over there as well. And that's the real J6 Shane. And
Hmm.
Shane, outside of that, how can people follow you and support you? I know I already covered the plugs, but you go ahead and tell people how they can follow
Yeah,
you,
no,
support you, and all the good stuff.
if you're not on one of those, if you get on Instagram, it's the real J6_US. But yeah, man, give us a shout out. You know what we need? We need prayer. You know, we all need prayer. If you can donate 5, 10, 15 bucks, that will go to helping people. That'll keep us in the fight. If you can share out our organization, share out the link to the website. If you know somebody doing prison reform, like put us in contact with them, because we know that typically the right wants to put people in jail and throw away the key. And so now the January 6th community is coming out of prison and they're telling these horror stories. But we've got to build these connections with people. I would not say the far progressive left. I would say maybe the old school Democrats. I believe we can build a relationship with these people and we can all work together to reform the prison system. So I think we've got some work. We've got the opportunity to do some healing. We can find some common ground under prison reform, justice reform. And so I look forward to having these difficult conversations, but it's worth it, because these people that were after January 6th, we want to reach back and help these people in prison, because one day they're going to be your neighbor and they're going to be my neighbor, and their kids are going to go to school with your kids, and they're going to work at our businesses. They're going to frequent our business. We're going to be visiting their businesses. So it behooves us as a society to invest in these people so they can be the best people they can be. And so I just think we have an opportunity and we got a lot of work to do, but I look forward to the fight.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely, Shane. Hey, good. Thank you so much. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for um, staying in the fight and not giving up. And we truly appreciate everything that you're doing for not only America but for for the world, because you're setting an example for the world. At the end of the day, and truly appreciate that. So more than welcome to come back anytime. Give us some updates. Bring the kids on. Let the court climb all over you. and and yes, and be safe out there. God bless you, sir, and take care and have fun.
Yeah, it's an honor. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Be safe out there. Thank you again, ladies and
Mhm.
gentlemen. Shane Jenkins, and hey, once again, Stand in the Gap Foundation and the real J6.com. The support, go over there, support those websites there, and get into that, and help the guys and gals. Let me put it like that. I was about to say help those guys, just singular, but it's guys and gals. But some places you go, when you say guys, we just kind of know that we collectively talking about women too. So, but anyways, help them out and donate, contribute, and support the causes that they have going on. And there's many other foundations and organizations that are out there. And like I said last week when I had Lucas Denny on, and I got Shane Jenkins on this week. I am actively seeking and bringing on the different J6ers as they become available, because they're on the speaker circuit. A lot of them are out there, and I'm actively bringing them on so they can tell their story, get their story out there, and get their organizations and everything else that they're starting up to get back on their feet and help their fellow brothers and sisters out there, help them get back, integrated into society, because they were done dirty at the end of the day. This is not about trying to prop myself up or anything else. Like, no, I'm utilizing my platform to help them build them up. So this is what it is. And so, yeah, let me know where they at, and shoot me a text, call, email, whatever. Y'all know how to get a hold of me and say, hey, we got one right here. Get them on your show. Happy to have them. So, but folks, jumping up out of here. It's Friday. You know what I do. Y'all be safe. Catch you all on Monday. God willing, God bless. And yeah, if y'all not doing anything this weekend, relax. Catch a break. Catch a breather. I know I need to. Because, jeez, it's been crazy. But all right, folks, I'm going to holler at y'all. Be safe. And don't do anything crazy. Take care. God bless. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in today. Please be sure to follow, like, subscribe, and share. And go to rpurham.com for more information. See you all soon. Take care. God bless.